Hey guys, it's Matt here. Right before the Memorial Day weekend from 2025, I'm going to be down in San Diego, so I thought I'd squeeze in another video to get my 2-a-week quota in. It's going to be on The Damned, the English punk rock group, The Damned, that when I was discovering The Damned, I guess not too long after I had discovered The Clash, I tended to compare the groups. So my Clash video was from, 77 to 82 to the Combat Rock album. I didn't need to do the Cut the Crap record. I want to focus on those years with The Damned. Although The Damned, the New Rose single, of course, come out in 76. So it's going to be from 76 to 82 through the Strawberries album. So, I'm not making any claims for The Damned being as important to UK punk as The Clash, but I sure love me some Damned. So, let's begin. Damned, Damned, Damned. Here's a Japanese CD I got a long time ago. One of the great punk albums, one of the great UK punk albums of 1977, which was the total year of punk. This is a classic. I mean, these songs, Neat, 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 Fan Club, Stab Your Back. I mean, those are as good as punk songs from anybody. The whole album is great. Like I said, New Rose came out in 76, and that was before Anarchy in the UK. I want to say New Rose was the first UK punk 45. Ramones came out. That whole album came out in 76 before New Rose, but still, wonderful album. I think this album was released in February of 77. So, again, folks, you know how I am. Had I done my research, this could be the first UK punk album. I think it probably is. Just for the hell of it, I'll say it is. Correct me. I'm challenging you to correct me in the comments. Anyways, I love it. Damned, Damned, Damned. 1977. Also, that same year in 77 is Music for Pleasure. Now, this album, it's still by the same, Brian James kind of led band. I should tell you about the other guys. You have, Captain Sensible, who I don't have his first album, because by 1982, when this video is going to end, his first album, what was it? Women in Captain Sensible's first, something like that, was out, and he had novelty hits and all. But anyways, he was in the band. Rat Scabies, the drummer Dave Vanian, the singer. Brian James is still the main songwriter at this point. Music for Pleasure, another Japanese disc. It was not as well received, much like The Clash's second album. But that actually has survived the test of time quite well, given enough rope. Music for Pleasure, I'm going to say, is the weakest album I'll be showing you today, but it's still good. I was playing this today in my car to reacquaint myself with the album. And the singles, well, I always like the singles from here, which I'm going to get into their Stiff Records singles in a second, because they were on Stiff at the time in 77. They were always good, Problem Child and Stretcher and Don't Cry Wolf. But anyways, the album is still good. Alone, Politics. There's a lot of bad song on here. Problem is, there just really aren't that many great ones. So it suffers in comparison with The Damned, but this is a pretty good 1-2 punch for 1977. The Ramones released 2 albums that year, and they're great too. What was it? Leave Home and Rocket to Russia. But still, I'm gonna stand up for Music for Pleasure. I think it holds up better than you remember if you haven't played it in a long time. But no, it's no Damned. Okay, so they leave. Oh, they got Nick Mason, from Pink Floyd to produce Music for Pleasure. They wanted Syd Barrett, but good luck with that. So that was a weird, Floyd and punk rock combining. But anyways, after the failure of that album, the band all but disbanded, and they were kicked off of Stiff and all this stupid drama. But I had this box a long time ago. When did it come out? 2000 and something, 3, 8, I can't read it. These are just the stiff singles, which I didn't have all of them until I bought this. They're good. Here is New Rose with Help. So much for punk rock being against the Beatles. Here's a freaking Beatles cover, and that's 76. Neat with Stab Your Back, 2 classics, and then Sing Along with Scabies, right? Problem Child. Now we're into the Music for Pleasure era, and You Take My Money, which is also on the same album. What's this one? Don't Cry Wolf, and One Way Love, right? Music for Pleasure era, and what is this one? Stretch Your Case, Baby, and Sick of Being Sick. Sick of Being Sick is a unique B-side. So, again, I like all of these songs. You get a nifty little booklet, too, talking about The Damned. So, I'm talking about The Damned today because they don't seem to get the acclaim, well, obviously I did my Clash and my Pistols video first in terms of UK punk, but the Buzzcocks had better singles. Wire were more arty, progressive. Stranglers, I think, had more hits, right? I don't remember now because I wasn't living in the UK. But I'm going to big up The Damned today because I love them. In 79, Machine Gun Etiquette. This is a furious album. It's not London Calling, but I played this a lot when I first discovered it. It's a short record. I think it's like 36 minutes, but there's some of these songs are bonus tracks. Love Song and Machine Gun Etiquette are great. Guys, I Just Can't Be Happy Today. Melody Lee, Anti-Pop. These are all good songs. Plan 9, Channel 7, Noise, Noise, Noise. They do the MC5 cover, Looking at You. Liar. Both parts of Smash It Up. I think that's it. I think the rest of the songs are bonus tracks. The Sweets, Ballroom Blitz, Suicide, Rabid, and then a longer version of White Rabbit. They were probably just starting at this time to introduce little elements of psychedelia into their music. Later on, they would get into goth, just like The Clash had all kinds of different aspects to their music with reggae and dub and even early hip hop, with some on the Sandinista album. The band didn't have those influences. They were more probably, British. But, when they did some psych covers, like Jefferson Airplane, or, not that MC5 song was psych. They were American influences. So, but then they also did Ballroom Blitz and Help, too. So, anyways, hella good record. Machine Gun Etiquette. If you haven't checked it out, do it. Perhaps their greatest album after Damned, but again, I like all of these albums. Like The Clash did Sandinista in 1980, which was just a big sprawling, some would say a mess, but I love Sandinista. The Damned did their double LP. They would never make a triple. The Black Album. The Black Album is kind of all over the place. It is sprawling. I mean, some of these cuts are as furious as some of the ones on Machine Gun Etiquette, but it's also got a lot more of other influences too. This album did not get the acclaim that Machine Gun Etiquette did, but I always dug it. I like double albums. There's a whole side that's live on here, or was it the whole LP? See, I never owned this on vinyl. I've only owned CDs. Let's see. Wait for the Blackout's great. Lively Arts, Silly Kids Games. Yeah, I love Drinking About My Baby. Twisted Nerve is great. Hit or Miss, Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. Sick of This and That. History of the World Part. Yeah, I mean, these are great songs. Therapy. Curtain Call is that lengthy one. That take up a whole LP side. It's over 17 minutes, but it's good. It really just, forget about the constraints of what you think punk rock should be. Short and fast. The Damned did plenty of that. They're expanding now. Like a lot of UK bands that had come out of the English punk scene in 77, 76. They were expanding their horizons by 1980. What you got to remember, guys, is that before the punk purists pile on me and think, punk's got to be this, and it's got to be short and fast, and you can't have outside influences. The bands played like that initially because that's all that they could play. Mick Jones and Joe Shermer have said the same thing. When you become better at your instrument, when you become a better musician, you play longer, more elaborate pieces. Everyone does it. Now, of course, you might say, well, the inevitable outcome of that is prog, and we hate prog, Well, I love prog and I love punk. So it doesn't need to be a this or that or an either or. So anyways, Curtain Call, I like it. Then some cool live stuff, another version of White Rabbit, and then a bunch of bonus tracks. These remastered CDs do a pretty good job of giving you most, if not all, of the unique bonus tracks that were on these 45s. So the Black Album, 1980, not an album you're going to see on too many best albums of all time lists, but it gets the Matt seal of approval, as for sure does Machine Gun Etiquette. Okay, nothing in 81. We get Strawberries in 1982. By this point, of course, as I was alluding to a couple minutes ago, you had the punk cognoscenti complaining that they were having too many outside influences and deviating from the punk 101 mindset. And so this is like their way of saying, it's pearls before swine, it's strawberries before pigs or whatever. So you got a strawberry and you got a pig on the cover. This is another solid album. It's a rock album. It's still a punk album, but they're not. These songs wouldn't pass for punk to a punk purist, I don't think. But that's good. I played this just this week. Ignite's great. Generals is well thought out. Stranger in the Town. I like all these songs are good. Dozen Girls, The Dog. I don't know why it's even called The Dog, because it's about Claudia, the little child vampire from Anne Rice's Interview with the Vampire book. Gun Fury, Pleasure in the Pig. These are all good. Missing, yeah. Life Goes On, Bad Time for Bonzo, by Reagan, Under the Floor Again, Don't Bother. And then lots of bonus tracks, including all of the unique B-sides, which were around at the time. So, yeah. I mean, how does this compare to the Black Album? Probably better, probably more consistent. It's not a double album, for one thing. But I think that the best songs from the Black Album are as good as the best songs from Strawberries. All right? For some reason I got Stab Your Back in my mind right now. Okay, the only, I don't have any damned box sets, indeed, if there are any. The only comp I've ever got is this 2-disc comp of the band. Anthology, Smash It Up, 76 to 87. So this goes, beyond the era that I'm talking about here in this video, but it's got practically every great damn song, that they had. I mean, listen to this track list. New Rose, Help, Neat Neat Neat, See Her Tonight, Fan Club, I Fall, I Feel Alright, I Feel the Pain, Stretcher Case, Problem Child, Don't Cry Wolf, Your Eyes, Creep You Can't Fool Me, Idiot Box. First 14 songs were all from 76 to 77. Love Song, both parts of Smash It Up, Machine Gun Etiquette, Melody Lee, Plan 9, Channel 7, Just Can't Be Happy Today, History of the World Part 1, Wait for the Blackout, Drinking About My Baby, Silly Kids Games, I remember that one, Curtain Call, wow, they put all of Curtain Call on here, Lovely Money, Dozen Girls, Life Goes On, Under the Floor Again, Generals, Grimly Fiendish, now we're getting into post-82, Eloise, Anything, and Dulce Decorum. So not too much from 85 to 87, but again, most of this is from the core 76 to 82 years. So the damned Anthology, Smash It Up. I recommend it if you don't want to invest in the albums. All right. So, yeah, the Damned. I did, go out of my way to compare them to the Clash. The Clash probably always did seem to release the better album, but I think the Damned should be in the conversation because I can't think of another punk band who was that consistent from the years 77 LP wise through 82, along with the Clash, not under punk band, you know. So I don't think, I'm struggling to think if I've ever heard a Damned song on American radio, right? But that's too bad, because they're just another band from the UK who slipped through the cracks here, who deserved better. Okay, yeah, they were punk, and American radio did not play punk rock. I mean, they barely even played the Ramones, you know. So it's just an unfortunate thing that happened with program directors and DJs here in the States in the mid to late 70s. Had radio played that first Ramones album in 76, then later on that year, they could have played New Rose. They could have played Anarchy in the UK. Then in 77, there was a plethora of things that they could have chosen to play. Not just, you know, later on with the Police and the Cars and the occasional Devo song, or, you know, whatever that you would hear as the closest thing to punk rock. But you could have heard all these bands, but you didn't, you know, because they wanted to hear Stairway to Heaven for the 1,000th time, or the 10,000th time, or Aqualung, or Freebird, and I love all those bands because I've done shows on them, right? But I think in an ideal situation, there's room for everything, right? And you should have heard the Damned on the radio during those years. Anyways, Matt signing off. Have a good Memorial Day weekend. Hasta la vista.